And now, through the magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future, Transformers Slag Podcast.
How we all doing this Saturday night? This is the Transformers Slag Podcast Saturday Night live stream main event. I'm your host, Proto Man, a little tired this time. This is the face. Ooh, it's the tired face that runs this place. This is the voice you hear Monday to Friday, and now it's Saturday, and I am a little worn out. I literally just came from a little micro trip. Took a 2-hour drive to a convention in Ottawa, small little city in Canada. Came back, picked up some stuff, little things here and there. Wasn't that great a show, to be honest, but the trip was fun. It was fun to just hang out, talk some robots. Some people recognized me at the show. Mostly, it's funny how people recognize because of the voice more than the face. But then again, look at this thing. So maybe that's why. So how y'all doing? This is the Transformer Slag Podcast live stream. We're going to be talking some robots. We're going to be taking some super chats. We got some news we got to cover. I guess we'll talk about some of the weird stuff that I picked up today at that little microcon. I don't even remember the name. I think it was called like Fanicon or something. Had some funky name. Kind of like just decided at the last second. I was like, it's only a 2-hour drive. That's only 4 hours all the way. It's not too bad. How we all doing? We got Mikey, we got Louie, we got Mike Rosen, we got JR Mina, Link CW, we got Abraham, Ashnud, got a whole bunch of the YouTube members here. Michael Butcher, haven't seen that name in a while. Roman Schillen, Sharif, and the crew. A few patron people are here too. Good stuff. So we're going to talk some news. We're going to just relax tonight. I'm a little low energy today because we just had a big drive and came back. I kind of took some of the weird stuff that we picked up. Everything I picked up today was mostly because it was ridiculously cheap. So it was either this con was either stuff that was ridiculously cheap or they knew what they have and they were asking like eBay price down to the penny. So it was a kind of a show, but hey, I got to go to Ottawa. I haven't been in Ottawa in a while. Got to relax, check out some stuff. So let's jump into it. We'll cover some news, and we'll take some questions from the fans. If you want to ask any questions or comments, hit that super chat button and lay it on me, and we'll enjoy everything, especially with the news that we have today. And we're going to start with some of the stuff that we covered today, as well as some new stuff that we have not covered yet this week in the world of Transformers. We're going to start with Transformers More Than Meets the Fries, More Than Meets the Eyes. Transformers Earthspark is getting their first fast food promo. Very first one. And this one here is through the Sonic Drive-Thru, a chain I am not too familiar with here in Canada, but very common, I've heard, in the West. And not in the West, in the South, under the border, in the US of A. And yeah, good stuff. Little Optimus Prime and Bumblebee and everything. Spoon action figures again. Transformer fast food items don't have to be the most complex thing. It's something you get free with your order. It's something that's a little fun thing to have on the side, a desk bot. And I mean, for something that's going to come free with your, as they call here, the Wacky Pack, their version of a Happy Meal, you get a little Optimus, a Megatron, a Bumblebee, or Alita 1 making her fast food debut. That if you remove the head, it has a little spoon there. You also have Twitch in alt mode, also with a spoon accessory. Again, I don't expect anything too complicated. It's not the 90s anymore, where action figures were at their peak in the fast food world. Oh man, there were some amazing 90s action figures back in the day. But it is what it is. Pretty cool stuff. We don't have any information on this outside of they're available right now as we speak. They're supposed to start in September. And this promotion will run until November 2023. Supposedly, this is usually how it works with Sonic. They usually do like a 2-month to a 3-month kind of stretch with their stuff. So pretty cool. I mean, I dig it. I wouldn't mind picking up the Alita one. It's kind of unique. just in its own. I mean, Optimus Bumblebees and Megatrons, we've seen tons of fast food iterations of them before, but an Elita One fast food item, pretty cute. I dig it. Pretty cool. We also got some new NPM news. The reason why I post the little image on the bottom here is for comparison, because maybe I'm missing something. Haven't talked about this one yet, mostly because I want to wait for some better images and more information before we do a full segment on it. So probably expect that sometime this week. But we have NPM 11D. This is the Dark of the Moon ratchet, which is pretty much from what I could tell, and that's why I posted the regular NPM 11 on the bottom there. It looks like it's a straight up repaint of the original NPM 11 ratchet. Maybe there's a new accessory. I mean, the accessory that he comes with the original is absent from these photos. But again, this is about as big as the photo gets, too. I mean, I could blow it up, but it's just going to be blurry. It's those pre order images for Japanese retailers, so they're just usually very simple. All we know from the Japanese text written here is that it's September 7th when the pre orders will go live. So expect like a Thursday Japan, Wednesday here kind of early images. Expected MSRP, if it's anything like the original, granted the original kind of was in that pre big V inflation world, 149.99 maybe. So if you dig it, if you like those colors and Dark of the Moon, this is available for you. We'll have more info later this week with some nicer photos and higher quality images and what is truly different between the two. But so far, in my opinion, it looks like a straight up repaint from what we got with these images here. So let me know what you think, guys, but it is what it is. We also got an update to our Kotobukiya Bishojo Starscream. Maybe some people saw this on my Twitter. It seems they're going to be including a pre-order bonus face with this one. If you order directly through Kotobukiya's website themselves, and probably maybe some of the other third-party retailers might also get the bonus too if they're buying directly through Kotobukiya. But you get an extra bonus crying face for your Starscream. I guess when Megatron knocks him on the head and calls him, her, whatever they want to call this. I like to look at these Kotobukiya things as female fans cosplaying as their favorite Transformer characters, because there's already been a few female fans in the Transformer fandom that have been cosplaying the Optimus and the Megatron and the Bumblebee. So would not this is kind of how I see these. It's like, hey, now the female fans who are cosplayers get a little love through these Kotobukiyas. And we got a crying Starscream head that's an extra bonus here. The pre-order for this right now is $179.99, but you could find that probably cheaper depending on which retailers you go to. And this is available to ship out July 2024. So still quite a whiles away for this to ship out. And still many more from this line to come. Apparently, these have been selling ridiculously successful for Kotobukiya. And they do have plans to do the other Seekers too with brand new face sculpts and everything. So pretty nice, pretty nice. We also have some missing link updates. So apparently the matrix of leadership that's going to come with the CO2 convoy is going to be different from the CO1, which makes sense because you want to go for screen accuracy. So the CO1 convoy is going to come with a gold matrix with a more greenish tint to the middle of the chest, almost something that's similar to that of the comic book version, if anything. And then the CO2 anime version is going to come with the same sculpt, but it's going to be much more anime accurate in its coloring. As for the Energon axe, the toy version is going to come with a translucent kind of Energon axe, or energy axe as they like to call it here. And the CO2 Convoy Anime Edition will have a more, I guess, matte painted one. Also, I want to point out Energy Axe, and then if you look at it, Matrix of Readership. Man, talk about direct translating right there from the Japanese TF_PR social website from Takara Tomy. So, but those are coming. So, more little updates on what's happening with that. Looking good otherwise. Again, both the CO1 Convoy and CO2 Convoy Anime Edition will be shipping out February 2024. And supposedly there's still a few more things to reveal from the Missing Link line just from these two releases. So stay tuned for that later this week. Now we have probably the topic today, I'm not going to cover too much of it because there's going to be more info over the next couple of days, but we have a teaser of a potential reissue of the original Titan class Fortress Maximus. We had a teaser just a couple of days ago that's going to say that on Tuesday, Transformer Tuesday, September 12th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be getting a reissue of the Titan class Fortress Maximus. And in all honesty, the only reason why they are doing this, in my opinion, before people jump to all kinds of conclusions, is the original Fortress Maximus Titan class came out in 2016. The trademark expired in 2020. They refreshed that trademark. It has a 4-year lifespan, and we're coming up on 2024, and they haven't done a Fortress Maximus release yet. So here's one way to protect that, and for them also not to get fined by the US Patent Office. Guess what, guys? Here's your Fortress Maximus product for the next 4-year stretch, at least until 2024. So this is going to be that product. You'll get an opportunity to buy this. What the MSRP will be, we don't know 100% yet. There has been rumors and questions. We will get into that later this week when we get more information. I've been talking to Hasbro's marketer to get more info, but again, I don't like to talk about stuff until it's 100% cemented and everything like that. But stay tuned for that. It will be out there, and you'll get an opportunity to pick up this big guy. And again, that's the reality, is that the only reason why this is really happening is a trademark reason. They don't have any new Fort Max related product that they want to put out within like the next 12 months, literally. So it's just the safer bet. Take an old Titan class, slap it in a box, put it on, Generation Selects kind of packaging, even if they want to keep it simple, and put it on the Hasbro Pulse, and I'm pretty sure it'll sell very well. It's much like they did not too long ago with the Devastator, where they reissued the Combiner Wars Devastator just to keep a trademark safe. It's the reality of the game. If you've been paying attention to this podcast all of this time, you know for full well how this all works and how the game works. And I've educated you guys on that to know that this is why that's happening more or less. But we'll have more info on it later this week. Just want to kind of address that because a lot of people have been asking me. Even the news websites have been kind of avoiding talking about it because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be discussed first before we get into everything. So let me know what you think about that one. But we'll have more info, prices, pre-orders, everything like that in the near future. Speaking of pre-orders, this is the hot pre-order this week. Let's talk about the BWVS 07 Loyalty Duel. And I swear, the more I was thinking about this, they should have called it the old box set name because the AirRaiser 2-pack was called the Heaven Duel, and the Inferno 2-pack with Cybershark was called the Hell Duel. They should have called it the Heaven and Hell Duel. But then again, there would have been all those problems. Oh, no, can't call it that because of our Puritan ears here in the West. But we have here the Loyalty Duel 2-pack from the BWVS Beast Wars Again series. This is BWVS 07, AirRaiser versus Inferno. We did quite an extensive breakdown of these extremely grainy images. So we don't know 100% everything about this and all the little color adjustments. And again, even the coloring might be a little wonky because we're literally basing it off of photos that are this tiny. But go check out the segment. I did it on the pod just a couple days ago where we kind of try to make a sense of everything. But at least one thing that's cool is, there is a lot of paint on it. The extra weapon that does come with Inferno is an extremely amazing get. And even if you already own these guys, this is a good reason to pick them up again because usually a deluxe and a Voyager through the Beast Wars Again line is usually between $62.99 and $69.99. It might be more on the higher end because of the extra weapon. But when you really break down how much it costs, I mean, geez, you're pretty much paying MSRP with a little extra for some extra paint and weapons. So if you didn't get these, it's pretty much a shoe-in. If you already got them, you know what? It's a good way to upgrade, and then you could do something with your current Inferno and make it scavenger, and then your Air Razor. I don't know. It'll probably end up in a parts party or a TFCon charity auction in the near future. But keep an eye out for that. Also, a September 7th pre-order where we'll probably get the better images on Wednesday. What's up, Aaron? So we'll talk about that in the near future. And the last thing I'm going to cover, and it's something that again I feel I'm going to cover this more this week, but Japan finally finished their run of Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and we finally have the final numbers for Rise of the Beasts. And as it stands, worldwide, it is the lowest box office Transformer live action movie thus far. But keep in mind, it is not the lowest Transformer box office movie if you count domestic. Locally here in the West, Rise of the Beast actually did better than the Bumblebee movie and actually did better than The Last Knight. But when you factor in the rest of the world didn't want anything to do with this movie. Now, I've had a few discussions actually on another podcast about what this potentially could be and what happened. And one of the hosts, I want to give a shout out to Skinny of the Franklin Armstrong podcast, that there might be a little bit of some marketing race involved with this and a lot of different things. I'm going to probably cover it later this week. There's still a little more things that I need to unearth and images and everything like that to really flesh it out. But let's put it this way, the rest of the world didn't want anything to do with this movie, for a lot of different reasons, specifically China and a few other regions that kind of avoid certain movies when the melanin is just a little too much on some characters. But the Western world loved Rise of the Beast, beat Bumblebee, it beat The Last Knight. So at the end of the day, people did like it over here in Canada and the USA, but the rest of the world didn't want anything to do with it, which is a shame because I did enjoy that movie quite a bit. Maybe it's my bias and my love of Transformers. I mean, it's not a perfect movie. It does have its issues here and there that could have been addressed, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we just have to keep marching forward. There will be new Transformer product, and while this is a small bump in the road, and this movie probably, when it's all said and done, will probably lose money, toy sales, according to Hasbro, have been good. So it all balances out, hopefully, in the end, which at the end of the day, this was a 2-hour commercial for Hasbro to move plastic. It just sucks for the studios and everyone involved who can't really say that this was a W, but unfortunately an L. And yeah, it is what it is. We'll talk more about it later this week when we break it down. And I don't want to end it on a somber note, but that's kind of more or less, unfortunately, it for the news. We'll get into sponsors. We'll talk about some of the stuff that we got today, and then we'll just take some super chats from you guys. So let's jump into sponsors, of course, which is Symbiote Studios. Today I'm wearing actually the Snake Eyes T-shirt with the Snake Eyes pin because in some non-Transformer related news, they revealed the latest 2D beat 'em up of the G.I. Joe game, which looks pretty sick. It looks like it's the same guys that did the recent Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, if anyone saw those. So far from what I've seen, the roster of that game is going to be Duke, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, and Roadblock. Very similar to the old G.I. Joe 90s arcade game back in the day, which is a fantastic arcade game. If you could find any way to play that, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Fantastic arcade game. But now this one, they're doing a side-scrolling 2D beat 'em up. Looks really cool. Has that cast, but if it's probably the same people that did Shredder's Revenge, the Ninja Turtle one, it's probably going to be an expanding cast. There'll probably be even more characters than just the four. Probably some DLC. It looks really good. Go check that out when you get a chance. But again, that's why I'm wearing Snake Eyes today, because Snake Eyes is the feature of that game. Looking good. And if you want Transformers plush pins and t-shirts and even Snake Eyes, again, symbiotestudios.com, one of our beautiful sponsors. Ugh, there's all their plush back there. Some of them I don't have the angle for it today, but kind of just rushed home today. But check them out. We had the new Primal that just debuted not too long ago at San Diego Comic-Con, as well as the very topical to the podcast Transformer Slag podcast. Slag. I call it Slag. It's Slag. It'll be Slag forever. Go check that out. Also, pick that up. Get some dinos. Get your Power Ranger action on with all those new reveals too. And of course, last week, if you weren't here, the Ultra Magnus that will be coming out in early 2024. This will be the first brand new plush of 2024, starting Transformers the movie. We're going to be doing that. So be sure to stay tuned for that and many others. again, the entire collection of Symbiote Studios. Be sure to pick them up before they sell out. Great stuff, amazing stuff. More to come. Stay tuned for that. But symbiotestudios.com. And of course, all the others. Go pick up your Snake Eyes, like I said, with Little Timber, or Cobra Commander, and all the other G.I. Joe pins. My Little Pony. They even have some brand new stuff they're going to be doing. Cassette Beast, which is another great one, too. Whole bunch of other great plushes and everything. Stay tuned for that. All things amazing at symbiotestudios.com. And of course, Anda Seats. If you haven't gotten your Anda Seat, get your Anda Seat. I know they could be a little expensive, but your back is important to you. And so is mine as a tall MF. AndaSeats.com. Use promo code PROTOMAN, get 15% off your order of an Anda Seat. And of course, thank you, Anda Seats, for sponsoring and sending us a beautiful Anda Seat. And of course, their little sign over there sometimes gets saturated out by the brightness of this room. And of course, Aaron Archer, the toy Armada with Aaron Archer. We got our latest episode with Beyblade. If you're a 2000s kid, Beyblade, it's worth that. If you were a 90s kid, you probably remember Beyblade. We talk about OG Beyblade, along with the designers from Beyblade, Steve Bono and Aaron Archer. Talk about the history of bringing it over to America, the localization, the official WBO Beyblade Association, the official tournaments, how that happened, all behind the scenes footage. Check it out. Really good segment. A little bit of Transformer history there too, because Armada kind of led into Beyblade, which is always really nice. And of course, if you haven't already picked up Aaron Archer's brand new book, The Art of Transforming Robots, Volume 2 Color Edition, $20 gets you a beautiful full color 36 page. 32 page, I believe, was the last one. 36 page full color art book. For an extra $15, he'll do a custom sketch on the inside for you of anything you want of your favorite character. And if that's not enough for Aaron Archer stuff, be sure to also check out at archermonster.com. He has a whole bunch of Transformers sketch paint instructions. Whole bunch. These are selling out quickly. He's probably done like 30 at this point, and I think that this is all that's left right now. As of this live stream, maybe they're sold already. I don't know. They've been moving really quickly. But if you haven't picked any up, here's some that are left. Go grab them while you can. They are absolutely amazing. I really like that smoke screen. I don't know why. Armada smoke screen looking real good right there. I have a soft spot for that guy. I don't know why. I always like that toy. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's also because he comes with a really cool mini con. But check those out. archermonster.com/shop. And that's it for the sponsors this week. So let's get into some super chats. We'll take some questions from the fans and take a look at some of the stuff that we picked up at this Ontario One Day toy show on a Saturday. Apparently they couldn't do it on a Sunday, so they had to do it on a Saturday. So so everything I picked up here, cheap stuff. Like I said, this show was either really cheap junky, go through the bins, which that's always the secret. When you go to cons, when you see a bin, dig through those bins because that's where you find the good stuff. There was either bins of good cheap stuff or stuff that was on tables that literally they would go, "Oh, this is $30 on eBay. I'm asking $30." So it was a mix of that. The video game stuff was ridiculously overpriced. It wasn't a very big show, but I did walk away with a few things. Picked up a few Transformer stuff I was missing. I never completed all of the Transformer Marvel crossover series. This is the Gray Hulk complete, $1. So, hey, awesome, $1 for a complete Gray Hulk. That's pretty cool. The later wave of these were really tough to get. I never found Thor. Supposedly Thor is a really tough one too to get. The Punisher is a really tough one. So it's pretty good to get any of these at this point, especially in decent condition and complete. Some Kiat Alexander. Man, sometimes with these names, sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Some Kiat Alexandiever. I apologize. Some cat. With the $5 super chat. Hey, Proto, got my Nacelle from Amazon, and when I opened it, it was light green mold all over the head sculpt. Can I use bleach to clean it up? I've been hearing about this, but I'm going to say this right now. I'm assuming that it's probably a case-to-case basis. Do not put bleach on your Transformers. any kind of plastic, if it's ABS, ABSF, which is probably SABS or MABS, which we have right now, and PVC, bleach will damage the plastic, especially in the case of this guy where it's blue. Um, I would suggest, honestly, I don't think it's mold. I really don't. I don't think it's mold at all. I think it could be dust particles from the factory. It could be one of many things. It could be in the case of like pony cancer, which you could barely see it, but the uh no, where are they? Oh, there you are. The monster pretenders kind of have the same thing where you could have a plastic breakdown, but it can't be something that brand new. I think it might be just some kind of chemical reaction that might be happening of paint that was used, or maybe again, something that was in the factory that was dusting around and got stuck on the product. I really don't think it's mold. Mold on a toy like that that isn't PVC per se. If it was like a PVC area, like I see something that would have PVC on Metal Hawk. No, you know what? Let's just use our little guy over here, our little Godzilla guy. This is like a PVC. Anything that's more of a rubbery, malleable material. But even then, for mold to happen that soon after a product is barely even hitting, people's hands right now, I really doubt that. I really do. Um, but I don't put bleach on it. What I would suggest, literally, Lysol wipes. Those are always great, which are antibacterial wipes. If you're truly freaking out over it being mold, use Lysol wipes. But the less invasive thing, in my opinion, soap and water, nice strong Bounty sheets, or just a strong kind of paper towel, and just kind of wash it like that. I have no joke. Actually, I think I have one nearby. Oh, I do have one nearby. I was just cleaning. I have bought and sold over 100. No joke. I probably bought and sold over 100 Buzz Lightyears. Buzz Lightyears are a dime a dozen, and they always sell well because people always want a 6-inch Buzz Lightyear that has like, the lights and the karate chop and everything. This one's missing the bubble, obviously. But these things, every time I find them, are always filthy because kids just love into infinity and beyond into the toilet. Even this one here isn't too clean. You can see it's already kind of like, look, it's missing the sticker for Lightyear, the paint damage. But I clean these guys up all the time, soap and water. Never use never use corrosive stuff, guys. It's always a big risk, especially with paint. So, it's I don't think it's mold though. Two people have come to me with this already, and it's something where I'm like, I think that probably the factory was doing its paint deco application, which is machine pressed, and maybe next door there was particles that were flying around and fresh paint blip, and then it's stuck on, they put it in, they send it to go. I mean, it's not mold. I really don't think so. I mean, until I get one myself and I could really chemically look at it and go, let's see what this is. Oh, and now I'm dead, but I don't think it's mold. I really don't. But yeah, thanks for the super chat, and I hope you figured that out in all honesty. Mikey and Louis, so Proto, is there a chance of getting a Beastie sequel? Well, you know what? I've always said this: when it comes to Hollywood and mainstream media, stuff gets sequels regardless if they're successful or not. There's TV shows that don't do well that get sequels. There's comic books that don't do well that get sequels, and there's movies that don't do well that lose money that get sequels. So if those could happen, I'm pretty sure that a Beast Wars movie could still happen, especially if Hasbro is right and toy sales were amazing during this, then the movie did its job. At the end of the day, I've heard of this in the past where there's been cartoon shows that were canceled not because the ratings were bad, but because the toy sales weren't good. Best example was Young Justice back in the day. That show got canceled because apparently toy sales weren't good, regardless of the ratings. So it's something where if the show doesn't do well, but the toys sell extremely well, they don't care about the ratings because it's a cartoon that's really a commercial for the product. So it's something where we'll see. I think Transformers 1 is our next, our next stop on this trip. And if that is successful, then like I always say, success really drives the direction more than anything else. So we will see. We will see. Um, Black Crow Vengeance #1, in terms of Transformers, other forms of fiction, what what do you prefer to read in terms of like comics? Like, do I have any suggestions for comics, Black Crow? Is that what you mean? Um, there's quite a few really good runs of Transformer books, starting from the beginning. Simon Furman's run of the original Transformer Marvel stuff, especially like issues 60 going up, is some of the best Transformer comic book stuff ever made. Some of the Bob stuff was good too. The reason why I love Shockwave so much comes from Bob's run with Shockwave, but it was such a small part of it. Like it was only a couple of issues, and then it kind of went back into mediocrity, in my opinion. There's still a lot of good stuff there. When you get into the Dreamwave stuff, man, I love the Armada Dreamwave stuff. I love the Armada of the Transformers G1 main run of the Dreamwave stuff. I love War Within with Don Figueroa. I think that's, to me, that's almost my definitive G1 origin story, just of how good it was. Just that opening page, Sentinel Prime is dead, and it's like, his burned carcass of a hand. Like so much great stuff there. Probably their weakest book was probably their Micromaster book, mostly I think because it was hard to differentiate a lot of the characters and the art. Okay, so you do mean comics and other readings. Going outside of that, the IDW books. I don't know. I'm hot or cold with the Morning Meets the Eye stuff. Some of it is good, some of it is kind of nah. Um, a lot. The Beast Wars book was really good with Josh Burcham. I really like that one. uh Casey Collar with the one shot with Blur. A lot of the Ironhide miniseries by Casey Collar, that was really good too. There's a lot of different books. There's a reason why IDW doesn't have the license anymore. They kind of, during that tail end of like the second half of owning the license, they kind of really, for lack of better words, slag the bed. So we'll see, but we'll see how Image does. That's next month. We'll get the first issue and we'll see how they're doing. But Void Rivals is pretty good. Oh, and it's a really good one too. Simon Furman's Transformers Regeneration. That's a really good run of books. Those are really good by IDW. That was kind of like a continuation to the Marvel books. Really like that one. I know I'm forgetting stuff. I didn't like Last Bot Standing. A lot of people always ask me if I like that one. I think that book was a joke, especially the last couple of issues. You would think like, oh, the Hot Rod book, it should be amazing. I don't know. That one was kind of weird. That's why no one ever talks about that one. I literally, when I was reading that book, like when I think I was reading the last issue, I literally said out loud while reading it, "Are you effing kidding me?" And I was like, okay, it is what it is. Deviations, avoid that terrible book. It is what it is. Other reading material, some of the novel stuff was good. Ghosts of Yesterday, which was one of the movie prequel books, which isn't canon anymore now, but that was really good. There's a bunch of manga stuff that I could always suggest. The Transformers, the manga stuff that was put out by Viz Media. I think that stuff's on sale right now on Amazon, so you could get it pretty cheap. I bought it all brand new, and I would buy it all brand new again at full price. It's that good. They're actually improvements from what the original mangas were back in the day. So you're actually getting a better version, and it's hardcover, really good price. But yeah, really good. So I hope that's a few. That'll keep you busy. Let me think of a good guidebook too. Obviously, the Transformers guidebook is really good. The Japanese one, they did a reissue of that recently. Trying to think of another good read. I'm just looking at my wall of books here. A lot of them are just kind of eh. I have them more just for reference reasons, if anything. But yeah, I'll go with those. I'll go with those. So you could start with those. Those are some good reads. Star Trek and Ghostbuster ones were okay. They were like mid. I don't want to like recommend them. They're not like egregious. Oh, the GoBots one. The GoBots one by Tom Sicoli. I love that book, but that's an acquired taste. Same thing with the GI Joe crossover ones he did. I like them, but I don't really suggest them for everybody because the art might not be for you. I can kind of look beyond the art if the story's really good or if there's like some good you know, um, inside baseball fan wank kind of stuff going on, especially with Tom Sicoli, with the way he does his storytelling. I like it. I like it, but might be different for other people. Very very mid for the crossover stuff with the Star Trek and the Ghostbuster one. Like, I don't want to spoil. Like, there was like, oh hey, that's a cool moment, but I'm not going to base an entire miniseries off of one issue and one moment that makes it all amazing. in the same way that like Last Spot Standing with Hot Rod, the end was had one of these terrible moments, and I'm not saying the whole book is terrible. It's very kind of you know, but that ending was okay, whatever. So yeah, thank you for some of the questions. If you have any more, just hit that super chat below. So I got the Hulk, has his little action there. He turns into the tank. He's complete. Very happy. $1 Canadian. So what is that, like 70 cents American? Uh, got this Bakugan Dragonoid Ultimate Dragon kind of thing. This was also $2. This goes for an MSRP right now in Toys R Us, at least in Canada, for $34.99. So for $2, and it has some Bakugan in it. Even if you push here, it's probably gonna go flying, but yeah, even has this one here too. Whole bunch of little Bakugans. So pretty cool for that one. Fun fact: the main character of Bakugan is named Daniel, so I kind of have a selfish soft spot for the Bakugan line, transforming balls. But really cool. Ultimate Dragonoid, $2 would have been expensive, and he transforms a little bit too. He kind of like turns into like a little playset and folds up and everything too. I'm not going to do it now, but nice little cool kaiju looking dude. Can't go wrong with that. Oh, and it also came with this one too. One of the that was the exclusive that came with it. So that was pretty cool. And probably the big purchase of the day was for $5 a complete beat 'em on uh battle playset, 100% complete. When I got back to my car, I double checked just to be sure. They said it was complete. It was complete. Has the exclusive little dudes and stuff. So very happy with this. I don't remember what the MSRP was back in the day for this, but for 5 bones to get a nice complete beat 'em on set, can't go wrong with that. Always sells well, although I might keep that one. I'm kind of tempted to keep it. Even though I like more of the older beat 'em on stuff, like the Bomberman beat 'em on stuff. But why not? $5, $5. So grand total, I spent like barely $10 at the con. Uh, and then everything else was just like ridiculously overpriced video games, ridiculous, like brand new Transformer toys, like 25% higher than MSRP. So I was just like, nah. Like I had a goal in mind. I was like, oh, if I could find some good key issue comics, if I could find some good trading cards, if I could find some good vintage action figures of stuff I'm in. It's like, oh, hey, here's some Street Shark toys. How much are these Street Sharks? Oh, $50 each loose and in terrible condition. Okay, someone clearly looked at eBay and then went, oh, I have that toy. Yeah, it's not in the same condition. I was hoping maybe to find some Mighty Max stuff. They had Mighty Max. They were asking crazy. The prices right now, at least with that show, not not to my liking. So, but again, went to that show. Then we, shopped around, went to some of the local stores there. When you leave Quebec and you go to, Montreal, Quebec, and you go to Ottawa, the Anglo-speaking world, I could go to Toys R Us's that don't suffer from language laws and pick up some things here and there usually. But I didn't really pick up anything. I just kind of just browsing. Sometimes I just like to go to Toys R Us and see what's on sale and see, what's moving and what's popular and what isn't selling well. Same thing with going to a Walmart there. So and I went to the comic shop with two P's and an E. Went to check them out. Usually they have old stuff and old comics and everything, but they didn't really have anything too much. I picked up one new Miss Marvel book, excuse me, Captain Marvel book, which had old Carol's design on the cover. So I picked that up for like a couple bucks. Just want to support a comic book store. I always, even if there's nothing there for me to buy, I'm just going to leave with one book just to support them. So I picked up a comic book from them and went to a few other record stores. There wasn't much, unfortunately. And we literally like spent like we woke up at 6 a.m., drove down there, got there for 9, and then just checked out a bunch of stuff, ate a little bit, something, something. The cat is freaking out. And that was it. That was it more or less. Came home, quickly like threw myself together and then started the live stream for you guys. So yeah, more or less, and then we'll take some super chats for the rest of the evening. How much time we got left? We got a good like hour and 15, so we'll take some super chats and everything. We got a YouTube member question from Link CW, who's at work, I believe he said. That is my fear of going to cons is people want top dollar versus competitive and fair. Well, when you have, it's hit or miss. Like when you have like a big convention, like a huge like, I don't want to say San Diego Comic Con because that there's very few that are that large. But when you have like a huge convention that has tons of guests and stuff, usually because the dealers had to pay so much for their tables to just participate with this show, they'll ask crazy prices just because they need to break even. If you're like $1,000 in on your table, like you paid $1,000 for your table at one of these big crazy shows, and you're going to be there for 3 days, so that's 3 days of parking, 3 days of buying and eating food on the go. Like by the end of the weekend, those people are like $1,500 in the hole before they sold a single thing. It's no surprise if that 8x3 table that they have that they spent $1,000 on, that they're going to be like, hey, Metal Hawk complete, $50, because they're trying to make their money back. And they know that there's a lot of FOMO and people spades, they paid big money to get a 3-day weekend pass. So they're going to make some kind of impulse purchase. That's what they're hoping for. Where usually with small conventions, because the tables shouldn't cost too much and it should be affordable, like, maybe those guys paid $50 a table because it's in a smaller hotel kind of situation, that the deals should be there. But yeah, again, while I did find some really good cheap stuff, I spent under $10 at that show. I paid $5 at the door and $10 in cat's freaking out. You might hear a cat. Um, it's one of these things where if if you uh if you don't spend too much, at the door, that's usually also a good sign because, oh, $5 at the door, it's a smaller con. Yeah, okay, then maybe the dealers didn't have to pay too much either, so maybe they're gonna also be good. But there was a few dealers there that they're like, I don't care if I paid $50. I'm asking $90 for this Street Shark. I'm asking, $50 for this Cowboy of Moo Mesa and this Cadillacs and Dinosaurs figure. Like all the like weird stuff I was looking for, it was there, but the money that they were asking for, wrestling figures, it was crazy the prices that they were asking. There was like stuff that I could have literally went to Toys R Us in the same area and bought the same figures, but they were just I've seen this before. I don't want to say a name, but it's someone locally here in Montreal. What he does is what I call he rents action figures, which he'll go to Toys R Us or Walmart. He'll buy a whole bunch of new product. He'll go to the convention and have a table there and put it on his table, and he'll upsell it more than what he paid at, let's say, Walmart or Target or anything, and then he'll go back literally the week after and just return everything what he didn't sell. He'll rent the product and then try to make profit. It's kind of scummy, but that's kind of the way it is. And I feel that's sometimes the case with a lot of guys is they'll have like all this brand new product that like you could literally get at Toys R Us or Walmart, but they're asking like 25% more than what even Walmart's asking. So again, I found some stuff. Just I didn't get as much as I had hoped, unfortunately, which is quite a shame. I know TFCon I found a lot of cool stuff. And that's one of those are like that's like a mid-size show. Like this was a small show. TFCon's like a mid-size show. And then you got like the big tier shows like the fan expos and the big anime conventions and stuff like that and everything. So let's see. We got a super chat. Where is it? The cat is absolutely freaking out right now. I don't know why. It's probably saw someone in the window. Spunk Convoy, how you doing, Spunk Convoy? What are your thoughts on 3D printed parts to make custom figures? Well, I mean, I like 3D printing stuff because, Mikey and Louie, Bin Studios, they made that 3D printed parts for that Unicron, that upgrade kit that they did. And I mean, I think that's a godsend, which is better, buying two Unicrons so that you could, have them in both modes, or just having an upgrade kit so you could kind of work it out that you could have both and not have to spend thousands of dollars. So I'm totally for it. I mean, I know I have a few. I have like some that I bought years ago when there was like a hot rod spoiler upgrade kit that they did for that Scout class Combiner Wars hot rod. I bought a little, like, it comes with a spoiler and a gun for him. Remember, I bought that off of, I want to say Shape Waves years ago. Like, I dig that kind of stuff. I always do. I always do. I don't know why we're getting weird messages here on. There we go. But yeah, I dig it. I dig it a lot. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, the gold super chat, Spuck Convoy. But to me, like, again, Bin Studios, check their stuff out. They do really good stuff. A lot of good stuff, actually. They did some GoBot stuff too, some upgrade GoBot kits. They're the ones that always keep it near my computer here. Probably the only existence of a Botanica figure at the moment, 3D printed. Very cool. I always keep that close by because I think that's so rad. And I use that as one of a good example of good 3D printed material. But yeah, thank you for the super chat. We got a car question. Oh, here's some mechanic stuff. Here we go. Going to roll up the sleeves. Protoman, car question for you. What do you think of a 2010 Toyota Camry LE? Of the Toyota series of cars, Camrys are the larger ones. They take more gasoline. If I had to take a Toyota of that era, especially the 2010 era, I would go with a Corolla. An LE edition would probably take more gas than a Corolla. The Camry LE, it's not a V6, that one, is it? Because I know that they did Soleras, the Solera Camry. Those were V6 engines. But yeah, I would go for a Corolla if you could. If you're going to be going in that coupe kind of Toyota route and you don't have options, then okay, Camry's fine. But I would always go with a Corolla. You're going to save way more on gasoline, way more on gasoline. But Toyotas are bulletproof. I have two Toyotas in my driveway right now, on top of everything else. I think they're amazing cars and they last, if you take care of them, they last forever. They last forever. Forever. Really good stuff. Orlando Chavez wants to know with the YouTube member question, what are some good small conventions? That is literally up to you, my friend, because it's something that wouldn't be on the radar for me. What I always tell people is, Facebook is a garbage, thing to use for social media stuff because it's, who needs Facebook? But it's such a great tool when it comes to being a nerd for like finding conventions, finding deals, sales, and all that kind of stuff. And I would literally in your local area find out if someone has a Facebook group for events. If there's like a Facebook group that talks about all, like, if you're like, give an example, the Ottawa area, like I just went into, there's probably an Ottawa, you know, geek convention Facebook group where they constantly are going, hey, this event's happening this week. Hey, this event's happening. Oh, hey, this. So try to like find those on Facebook because Facebook is really good for events. Like, Twitter and that, it's not so much. But Facebook is great for that because it uses the algorithm to figure out what you like. And then it would even suggest it to you. Hey, you're in the local area. Hey, you were part of a group that you said you were interested in this comic book convention that was locally in your area. I'm going to suggest that in your feed. Hey, there's going to be, Robot Con. So those small shows, I can't tell you how to find them outside of using Facebook. And I'm pretty sure if you go to events in your Facebook thing and it tells you usually the events that are happening in your area that are close by using mileage or kilometers, depending if you're Canadian or American, you'll find something. They'll tell you something. You'll find something. So, and you'll always find good stuff. You'll always find good stuff at small stuff. You just got to dig. You got to be a bin digger. That's what I always say. That's how I found the Hulk for $1. You know, saved me a lot of money. That Hulk would have been MSRP like $14.99 back then. So saved me a good money. $1 at 70 cents Canadian, 70 cents American. So can't go wrong. But that's one way. Always, Facebook is a good tool for local stuff. It might not be good for anything else unless you're some weirdo that's stalking your ex-girlfriend. But I mean, it's not a great tool for the social aspects. I think that most of Facebook, in terms of the social aspect of it, is quite cringy. But in terms of a tool of sharing conventions or selling stuff, I think that that's what it's really good for. The nerd tools, the geek tools are great in that sense. But I hope that helps that. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you, Mikey and Louie. 2.5, 2.5 4-cylinder. Okay, good. Okay, good. So then it's something where it takes a little more than a Corolla because a Corolla would be a HOHC 4-cylinder engine for a 2010. I'd have to check, but I mean, if you could get a regular Corolla, I would go with that. Camrys are the more classier Corollas. Like you want something that looks a little more luxury, but then you might as well just get a Lexus. But and also there's less parts for Camrys as opposed to Corollas, and it takes more oil. So if you have a mechanic that's a bit of a dumbass that's gonna try to go, well, we charged X amount for the oil and everything. But yeah, Alden Tolbert with the $5 super chat. What are your dream toy that Hasbro will made? For example, a deluxe Botanica. Well, for the longest time, it would have been Nitro Convoy Override until that happened, and that's way better than I would have ever imagined. So that's definitely one of them. Um, I would like Botanica to happen. It's just one of those few figures that just hasn't, one of those few characters that that's like a talk about a mainstream multiple episode speaking line character that doesn't have a toy. Like you could talk about all the other Transformers that don't have toys, but they were probably in one issue, or like they probably we live in a world where Scrounge has an action figure. Scrounge has probably gonna have two action figures when everything's said and done. Or they're probably going to do something with that Cosmos, the new one, at some point. So Scrounge has an action figure. G-Axis has an action figure. DevCon just got his action figure. DevCon was in one episode and a handful of cameos in comic books. And Botanica was speaking roles across the entire mill of Beast Machines. So, you know, it is what it is. But obviously Beast Machines kind of has like this, ooh, sales weren't very good for Beast Machines. How do we do a plant transformer outside of, bots? So I understand why she doesn't exist currently, but at the same time, it would be nice if they just finally just, rip that bandage off and get it done finally. But thank you for the $5 super chat. Alden, aside from that, I don't know. I don't know. There's not much missing anymore. There really isn't. It's do a headmaster Minerva, a Minerva toy that has a headmaster ability. Do that again so people could get that kind of version. Uh, what else? I don't know. We're reaching a point now where we'd have to visit like Unicron trilogy and Robots in the Skies to kind of get updates of certain characters now because we've covered most of G1 and the obscure. So Abraham with the $2 super chat. Thank you, Abraham. Proto think Grand Max could get a re-release as well. I mean, that would be great. It would be great if they did that. I mean, that was a crowd-funded kind of figure through Takara that didn't meet the crowd-funded needs. It was like, hey, if we get over 3,000 pre-orders, you're going to get this exclusive, Pretender decoy armor, which it didn't happen. No joke. Like I think there's probably only 1,000 units of that original one out there, because if it didn't even get close to 3,000, then how many pre-orders did happen for it to even be out there? So I would like it if it happened, and then they include the little the little decoy armor that never was. But I think that Fortress Maximus is the easier one. Hasbro could just kind of belt that out, put that out there, get a trademark done, and that's why they're doing the Fort Max. It's just a trademark thing, like I said. But we'll get deeper into it later this week, starting on Monday. We're going to cover some of the news of that kind of stuff. Um, let's see, where are we at here? Prince of Phalanx, DairyCon is a good small convention. I would love to go to DairyCon. DairyCon, contact me. Me and Aaron Archer will come down, fly us out, give us a booth, give us some glass cases. We'll have some nice stuff for you on display. Pay for our hotel rooms, pay for our flights, and we'll come down. We'll give you the best possible weekend we could possibly give you. If BotCon had some influencers as guests, now that I know that that's a thing, maybe I'll come on down to BotCon too in the near future. I didn't know that was a thing. We will see. Mikey and Louie, I resent that comment. I'm a girl who stalks her boyfriend. Us girls are psycho stalkers too. Well then, let's not get on your wrong side. Or it's what was that movie there with Alicia Silverstone? She killed the guy that she liked. Was it Ivy? Poison Ivy? Something like that. Old 90s movie. Where are we at here? Rodimus Power with the YouTube member question: in the future, TF less parts, or less parts, small. Where ends it? I guess you're worried about Transformers having less parts and stuff in the future. You know what the problem is that Plastic is a limited resource in this world. It uses oil to make it. Oil is a finite resource, at least for the time being, until they find more. I don't want to get into that discussion. As someone who's a car mechanic and talking about precious oils and global warming and everything, we have our opinions. And let's just say global warming exists and they want it to happen. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go deeper into that, but the point is that it's a precious resource. There's not much of it, and as a result, as time progresses, transformers are going to get more expensive and they want to keep their profits up. It's something where it's like, "Oh, it costs more to make this deluxe or this Voyager, we're gonna charge more, and then we're also gonna want to maximize our profits, so we're gonna charge more, but we're gonna give less." I posted images on Twitter many years ago showing like, here's a Voyager class in 2002, here's a leader class in in 2021, and man, you can't even compare it. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy what's going on there with that. So it's a sad truth. Mikey Louie, if they make robots that turn into rocks, come up, they have to come with a plant. Yeah, it's true. If we have rock lords, but rock lords again have that pedigree. So and they could do something like that. But who knows? Maybe they could pull plant lords next year. After that, who knows? Lizard Rex Botanicus toy should look like Samus ship crossed from the Navigator ship. Well, but you're avoiding using a plant thing and you're doing something that's more of a vehicle. So that kind of misses the point. You could have the character in name, but then it misses the point. Botanica, it's literally in the name. You want to do something plant related. Transformatics, so glad I was able to get a Fort Max at a normal price. Well, Fort Max was Devastator, Metroplex, and Fort Max were the only Titan classes that ended up at Costco on clearance. So those were the only ones you could probably would have gotten them cheap back in the day if you were looking for them. Afterwards, like Triptychon and them, they never really saw clearance numbers outside of that one Ollie's Triptychon thing that happened where, man, that was cheap. Uh, where are we at here? In terms of the future new Autobots that haven't been invented, what do you think Hasbro will believe will appease us fans? Aerial bots, grounders, mini-cons, army builders. Well, as time progresses and Hasbro becomes more aware of what their market is, especially the generations, like they're very well aware that the people who are buying toys, people who are buying generations, are in that 20 to 30 to 40 demographic. So they know that they could do the deep cuts because it's going to hit the eyeballs of a very specific market. If they did a DevCon way back when, most kids wouldn't understand that. Us older collectors might, when we were in our 20s and 30s. Imagine how old we're getting. But it was a different era back then. Today, they know who the buying market is, and they could kind of do that kind of stuff and shift in that direction. Unfortunately, so it's something where, but then of course they also are aware that because it's an adult market, they go, "Ooh, we're gonna make you Metal Hawk, but we're also gonna charge more MSRP because we know you guys work for your money." As opposed to birthday presents or that one action figure you might be lucky to get a month or a Christmas present, because that market shifts so much. Man, oh man, do they make sure they take advantage of that, you know? Prince of Phalanx 59 with a YouTube member question: is Hasbro going to have a Transformers HasLab soon? Hasbro PulseCon coming up soon. Stay tuned for that. Yes, we will. Coming up soon. Where's our a hot rod plushie? One day. One day. Orlando Chavez, has Botanica ever made an appearance outside of Beast Machine's cartoon? Yes, technically it's a spoiler though. Transformers Regenerations. That's all I'm gonna say. She probably had a mild cameo in an IDW book vaguely, but I know that in the Regenerations book, she did make an appearance. That's all I'm going to say with that. Go read that book. Very good Simon Furman book. Very, very good. Very good. Do we have any more super chats? None at the moment. No super chats at the moment. But yeah, in terms of like what's going on with plastics and stuff and the limited nature of it, that's what's becoming more and more an issue. And that's why like when you see like the Transformers Authentics line and how they're very streamlined. I have I had the RC nearby here because I picked that one up because that one was kind of cool. And it's something where because they streamline it, less paint, less plastic, it's like maybe three molds, sprue molds to assemble the product, two colors, one or two paint deco hits, very streamlined box. The box doesn't have a tray of plastic, the box doesn't have a bubble of plastic, so that streamlines it. There's no bio on it, there's no tech spec on it, so you don't have to pay a copy guy. They keep it very simple. The box art is recycled, control art that they use across all kinds of different branding of Transformers. So you do one thing after another and you really streamline it. And there you go. It's something where that's how they kind of protect their stock market prices, and they charge more on our end. And you know the only other way I could see that we potentially could keep getting better product, and it is something we do see a lot with Transformers, is the more they license out their brand. If they keep licensing out Transformers, then potentially a company, dare I say one day, will take the license and do better Transformer product. But if they're paying a license, now we're going to be as a consumer is going to be paying more too. Imagine if those Super 7 Ultimate figures were done in-house at Hasbro instead of buying them through Super 7. They probably wouldn't be $50 a unit. They'd probably be maybe 40 or 35 or even cheaper than that. But Super 7 has to pay a license, and as a result, the figures are cool, but they're also expensive. And we have to pay for that because it's a trademark. Where are we at? Where are we at? Just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Got a YouTube member question from Rodimus Power. Follow-up question: what will Hasbro do to counteract this new technology? Maybe we're dual molds like Lego, Gundam, less paint, but more plastic colors. Well, again, when they do different plastic colors, and at least the good thing with that is it doesn't cost them money so much because it's the same cost regardless of the fact, even if they do dual molding. The only thing that sucks is paint deco is important. Like imagine, yeah, you could do dual molding, right? So let's say like the face on Metal Hawk here is actually a piece of plastic instead of paint. But then what are you gonna do? You need to have that Autobot logo. And look at Metal Hawk here, right here. This is paint, this is paint, this is paint, this is paint. Everything else is molded in plastic. They kept it very streamlined, you know? There's no other paint on this. Isn't that, look, think about it. Paint, 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 paint. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. Everything else is molded in. So they know, and that's why they've been keeping costs down to quite an extensive degree. Where I look at some like Energon stuff, and the amount of paint deco that's like put on Scorponok. I mean, goodness, like let's just take a quick look over there. You know what I mean? Like Scorponok or Cyber Shark, or even like the Ghost Star screams in some of them. Some of the Cybertron stuff too. Like it's pretty crazy. Ignore the Ultimate Muscle and Microman stuff. Um, I like these guys. Uh, there we go. Uh, it's something where, I look at the paint that was put on some of that Unicron trilogy stuff, but it was a different time. It was a very different time. And that's how they kind of were able to get away with that was, it wasn't as expensive and they were able to do it, you know. One day it's going to be plastic, it's a lost art. Well, unfortunately, yes. My belief is that I think that as 3D printing starts to become more and more prevalent, I mean, we are still we're not in the prehistoric age of 3D printing. I think we're in the bronze age right now of 3D printing. We're not where 3D printing is where it's amazing today, but we're in that bronze age of it where we're really starting to figure it out, but we're still not perfect yet. And we're going to reach a point where 3D printing is going to, I feel, replace a lot of stuff. Where I'm sure Hasbro would love it that you just pay for a file, you know, and then the plastic and assembly is on your end. You're the one that's going to have to buy the plastic pieces. You're the one that's going to have to assemble it. That takes out all the manufacturing. They just have to make a file from their designer side of things, put it on a website, and then they just get a digital currency. You just give your credit card, boom, boom, done, done, and then it's up to you to to put Metal Hawk together like a Gundam, if anything. And then if you want to do paint applications and stuff, well, that's your choice. You know, I feel that one day that's going to happen. The retail world is going to shrink and shrink, and the online direct market world will happen. And that's something that could happen as quick as 10 years. In 10 years or less, something like that could totally switch very easily. Very easily. 10 years from now, we could be having that conversation, you know? And then there's going to be a whole submarket of people that 3D print the figures and put them together really nicely, and then they sell them in the secondary market. Because I see that in the Gundam community. There's people that buy model kits and then they commission people to build the kits for them because they want to have a really good looking product. So it'd be the same thing. I can imagine people would commission it. I see that also with the Warhammer world a little bit. I'm not part of that world much, but I see some of my friends, they pay for that. Mikey and Louie sell the figure in all gray, include a brush and some paint. Nah, because brush and paint is oil. They would have to pay for that stuff. They want that to all fall on the end of the consumer. Why would Hasbro have to be responsible for brushes and paint and selling you something when you could just go out and let that be your problem? That's the thing. Like they would want to avoid that, if anything. You know what I mean? Keeps it cheaper for them. Um, Hasbro probably already is using dual modes. I know that when they were building, I have some footage of when they were building the Studio Series Bumblebee. I have some Vietnam footage that I posted on Twitter a while back, and you could see there was a lot of single molds of the yellows, but then there was dual molds of the two shades of gray. So I'm pretty sure they do that with a lot of different product. We got a $5 super chat by C Lau. How you doing, C Lau? Have not seen you before. Welcome to the Transformer Slag podcast, and thank you for the super chat and the love and support and supporting the podcast. And your question is any ideal, I guess, any idea why Walmart and Targets in the Midwest are always 3 months behind on Transformer releases? I live near Chicago and still no Studio Series 86 Snarl. I've said this many times. Let me ask you this, Lau, how often do you go to your Walmart, like a specific one Walmart? Because the thing is a lot of times a bad distribution that some people perceive has to do more with the fact that it just has to do with the frequency of population in your area. And what I mean by that exactly is you might go to your Walmart every Saturday. Let me give an example. Every Saturday, usually, that's when I do my grocery shopping, or Sunday, sometimes Sunday too. But whenever I do my grocery shopping is also when I hit up my Walmart, my Target, some of my more smaller toy joints. I get it all done in one swoop. It's all that one day. That's that. But I know that if you only do it that one day, you don't know what is passing through your system. Because if you were just going on Saturday, I only go to Walmart's on Saturday. You don't know. You go to Walmart on Saturday, you didn't find anything. There's nothing there. The Midwest sucks. Monday, they get a case of Studio Series Leader Class 86. And then you have you're in Chicago, you just said. Chicago is, what is the third most populated city in the United States? It's a big population. It's a lot of people that could be going through your Walmarts, through your different Targets and everything. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They got one case of Leader Class. Let's say they got two cases of Leader Class. You got 4 snarls there. You think by the time you come back on Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no one has bought them all yet? So you might not even know that they get good distribution because it gets all bought up. Now, it could be scalpers, it could be fans, it could be birthday presents, but it's something where you don't even know if that happened because that's the case. And the only reason why I speak from experience, even though I only go once a week now, back in the day, and we're talking 20 years ago, here we're going to have an old man, proto man story. Back during the Unicron trilogy, specifically during Energon and Cybertron. So we're talking 2004, 2005, 2006, right? Almost 20 years ago in some cases. Ugh, I'm getting old. I used to work at Burger King, and literally I did drive-through. And when I would look outside my drive-through window, I can even tell you exactly which Burger King it was I worked at. It was DeCarry, Montreal on DeCarry Boulevard. Right across from my window was Toys R Us. To the left of me, to the right of me from my window was a Walmart. So whenever I finished work, I could hit up a Toys R Us and a Walmart. And I worked 5 days a week, Monday to Friday during the summers, and then I do the evenings during my school season. I could hit up every single day. And you know what I would see? If I went every single day, there was times where I would see product and then I never saw it again. So I would go into Walmart. Oh my God, Omega Supreme, Titan class, not Titan class, Supreme class at the time. Supreme class Energon Omega Supreme. Picked one up, brand new. Went back 2 days later, didn't see it, and never saw them ever again. In nowhere. Just happens. What was another one? Uh Wing Saber. Super limited. So it's something where you kind of have to go, unfortunately, a lot of times, but it might be expensive, you know? It might be very expensive. So I mean, it's you have to really be more frequent before you kind of make that call that, oh my God, my distribution is terrible. Yeah, maybe you do have bad distribution, but when you have a place like Chicago that's really busy, I'm pretty sure stuff is just getting bought up. I think it's more so that when you're in a high population city, like even Montreal. Montreal is the second largest city in Canada and the coolest, might I add. Um, It's something where when you're in a super high population dense city and you go to that Walmart that's surrounded by everybody, you ain't finding anything unless you are lucky to be there the day that like the the shelving got stocked, you know? It's a tough one. It's a battle. So I hope that answers that a little bit. See Lao. Hope it answers it. Um, but yeah, I hope that answers that one, you know. It's tough. And again, Chicago is, I mean, if you told me like somewhere in Rhode Island, I might have a different answer, but man, Chicago is, there's a reason why TFCon does Chicago because the population is immense there. Very busy city. Even the smaller suburbs around Chicago, they're filing in and buying product too. Charlottesville and some of the others, for sure. Or Charlottetown or Charlottesville, one or the other, something like that. Thank you for the super chat though, my friend, and thank you for supporting the podcast. T Formers 2002 with the YouTube member question. I go to my main Walmart several times a week, and I know for a fact that there is bad distribution. Well, where are you located, T Formers 2002? That's another thing too. If you live in a low population area, they're not going to buy stuff because they know it's not going to be worth it for them. That toy manager's job is to move product. And if they're stuck on a case assortment of like, you know, right now the best example being like Earthspark product is not moving at all, they're not going to be really excited to get more. Especially when you have a holiday season that's coming up. They're going to wait first to kind of liquidate stuff before the holiday season so then they could fill it up with more pegs. Timing is important too. Mike Rosen says he goes once a week. That's what most people do, once a week, but once a week is not going to do that. Timmy K points out, anyone asks about Protoman's dietary needs for the evening? Uh, I actually haven't eaten yet. I literally since we took this trip, no joke. I My go-to when I need really fast, cheap food on the go, my trick is, and this is an old Burger King trick, but I do it at McDonald's. I go to McDonald's and I order from the kiosk, the punch-in kiosk, 4 hamburgers, just the hamburgers, not Big Macs, not McDoubles, not any of that. 4 hamburgers, and then I fill it with all the extras that would make a Big Mac, which are free, by the way. And I get Big Macs that are like 50% the price. That's an old little Burger King trick because they used to do that at Burger King too. The Whopper Junior at the time I think was like $3 or 3.50, and we had people that knew that if you ordered a regular hamburger and you said, I just want a regular hamburger with lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, onion, ketchup, and our manager would get angry because he knew that that person knew if they just did that they get all the toppings for free, and they saved like $1.70 for a word. Little secret menu trick there. So what I would do on the go, and we did this today, I bought like 4 hamburgers on the way to Ottawa just to like hold me over. Some little bit of protein and some ketchup and mustard just to keep me going with some carbs from the bread. And then I had 2 hamburgers on the way back. Because you know when you're out in the middle of nowhere going from city to city, like these off the ramp kind of like little McDonald's are like a godsend. It's always how it is. What am I gonna have tonight? I don't know. I do not know. I actually did not have it planned out. I'm probably gonna have maybe berries and nuts, just something simple, nothing too complicated. I'll eat good tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a good day. We're gonna do our grocery shopping. We're gonna do some shopping around. We'll do it then. Do it then. Um, where are we at here? Prince of Founding 59, my target today, and talked to a guy who's older and his kids are all grown up. He said they make a big loop to buy a lot of Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron vehicles. He has many multiples. Well then, glad he's enjoying that. Hope the kids still enjoy toys though. Link CW says like still no Toxtron G2 collection at 3 Walmarts here in Portridge, Daytona Beach. Again, maybe they were there, but maybe they're not. What's also good, again, if you're part of groups that are local groups, because you'll have guys that do sightings. Hey, I saw this. Hey, I saw that. Even if they're not Transformer collectors, they could take photos of the Transformer section and post it to let people know. You know, it's pretty crazy. Scalper detected. Who's a scalper? Someone's a scalper here. And you beg your mom. Now we know how old he is. Uh, Giants bleed. Yeah, I usually pre-order anything that can be pre-ordered anymore. It's you know what? That's usually the safer bet. It might not be the most financially sound because when you pre-order, you're guaranteed you're going to be paying full price. But I mean, it does guarantee that you'll get your product. You might even get it later because sometimes it breaks pre-orders. It shows up in person and then you get it later from Hasbro Pulse or something. But it is the safest bet. Yeah, Lizard Sphere X. Yep. The sightings for if you're Canadian, cybertron.ca. If you're American, the sightings forums on TFW 2005. Check those out. Those are the like I said, message boards and social media websites as a social tool, absolute dumpster fires. But as tools for helping you as in your geek hobby, that's where it's at. You know, you use it as a tool, and that's how you can find that. And then if you go to the Daytona, section of TFW 2005, and maybe you'll find stuff. Maybe people are like, hey, I just saw this week. It also backfires because they'll go, hey, I saw this, and then some scalper guy will swoop in and buy it all. But at least it'll let you know what is the population reports of your local area in terms of product. And then you could not say that they have bad distribution, but so much that you just have a lot of guys buying up product. The big thing is the Big V made a lot of people start hustling and buying things. And so you had people who weren't buying Transformers and weren't buying Pokemon cards and weren't buying G.I. Joe. And now they were buying this all just so they could flip it because they needed the extra income during the Big V. So, but yeah. Uh, so new product doesn't show up in time. Yeah, new product never shows up in time. It's welcome to living in Quebec. You know, I'm used to it. I'm used to. I am grateful for whatever I see on the shelves locally here in Quebec, in Montreal. If I see Legacy Evolution Lio Convoy, hey, awesome stuff. Look how long it took me to get this guy. I mean, this guy's on my table now because only recently I got him you know? So it's something where if I'm lucky to get it, if I'm even lucky, I'm happy. But I'm aware that I do have opportunities to get it elsewhere online, but I'm also very good with my money in my wallet, so I'm willing to wait. When you do conventions and you find deals cheap, I'm willing to wait. There's no contest in getting the Transformers before anyone else, you know? You don't win at the end of the day, and your wallet sure as hell doesn't win. Giants bleed this year. I only bought a Legacy Evolution Cores, Lio Prime, and Nemesis Prime. Well, then you're being smart with your money, my friend, and that's the way to go about it. Sometimes you don't have to buy everything. And I guarantee a lot of the stuff that you don't buy, you'll get an opportunity to get it cheaper later on. Once again, going back to the message boards, do you know how many times you go on the message boards? You could go right now on TFW2005.com, go to the buy, sell, trade forums, and there is probably some guy right now liquidating his collection, and there's new product there, and it's cheaper than retail, no taxes, and you're good to go. For sure. For sure. Oh, battery's running low. What's going on? Didn't charge you. This is what happens when you come home late. Gotta plug this in. Don't want to lose you guys. Don't want to lose you guys. Gotta make sure that's all good. There we go. We got 30 minutes left in this, so let's get some more super chats in before we call it the end of the day. And then Protoman can mess with some Bakugan. Not Bakugan. This is Beatamon. Bakugan's the other one. Beatamons. Play with that set. I actually like the old sets better. The old sets were nicer. Where are we at here? Mikey and Louie, where is the core class Dinobot repaints? Are we going to get Monstructor out of it as well? Well, let's let Volcanicus marinate a little bit. It just got completed. Like they just showed us that. So it's something where let's let it marinate a little bit and then we'll get the repaint afterwards. That's kind of how I imagine it. But yeah, for sure we're going to get Dino King. I mean, let's be real. That's the whole reason why they did this to begin with in that setup. For sure we'll get like original colors, Monstructor, Dino King. Right away you got 3 out of there. If you get three colors out of a mold, you have succeeded. Some of the old Unicron trilogy were lucky if they got 2. I'm surprised how long it took Sharkticon to get a repaint, and it was in Japan. Ooh, we got a super chat today. The infamous red super chat, which I have to pull out a red transformer. Actually, let's do the pink of Hot Rod. Every time we get a red super chat, I got to pull out everything red. Everything red. Everything red. Need something red. We'll get Dragonoid over here. Thank you for the $50 super chat. Princeton Phalanx 59. I love this figure to death. My favorite Transformer of all time for the time being. The Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. Prince of Phalanx 59 with the $50 super chat, brother. Beautiful. Thank you, my friend. Always glad to have you here. What are your thoughts on finding hard to get Transformers at Walmart buying it? I don't need it, but posting it up on Facebook, asking if anyone wants to buy it for retail plus shipping. Some say that is wrong. What are your thoughts on it? Well, here's the thing, right? You get into this deeper conversation of scalping. Shout out to Cheers Ian, former co-host on the Transformer Slag podcast back in the day. Me and Ian have always had a very similar opinion when it comes to the scalping situation because he's someone that literally his collection is only able to grow if he scalps. So me personally, I'm not in a bad financial situation. So I'm not someone that if I go to Walmart and there's a full peg of Cosmoses staring back at me, here's what happens. I get one for myself, and then I get on my phone and I ask my friends if they need it because I know it's a hard figure. If they don't need it, I leave them behind. Some other scalper is probably going to come and empty them out, but at least I know that my friends were covered. That's what usually happens. Same thing, Jaws D. If he's looking for something, he'll contact me. Hey, do you need this? Hey, do you need that? That's how I've always been. When you go on message board groups and you're helping strangers, yeah, there's a nobility to it. Hey, you're helping strangers and everything, but you're also reducing the population in your local area. So it's something where now all of those cosmoses, like you found a whole peg of oh my god, there's 10 cosmoses, 10 Legacy Evolution Speedia 500 collection cosmos. There's 10 of them. I'm going to get one for myself, and then I'm going to go on some Facebook group and go, hey, I have Cosmos. I'm willing to ship it to you. Just pay MSRP plus shipping. That's great. You're helping out strangers, and that's very noble of you, but you're also now making it difficult for everyone else in the local area. So it's that catch where it's like, do you want to help out the local area? Do you even care about the local area? Are you like one of those, screw those guys. All those guys do all day is scalp anyways. So it really has to do with your own story. Locally here in Montreal, no joke, our Transformer community is maybe 10 guys, like 10 hardcore collectors, and that's about it. And then you got like 2 guys that are some of the worst scalpers of all time, like the MVPs of scalpers. Anyone who's a local in the Montreal knows exactly who he is. It starts with a V. He's like on all of the Facebook groups, all of the message board groups. He goes on Facebook Marketplace. He's scalping everything. He is terrible, terrible. And the other one is a mod at Sabertron.com, who's also a local Montrealer. It's freaking crazy. It's crazy. But those two guys, it's nuts. And people have come to me and go, why don't you call these guys out in person? I'm like, look, I don't know their financial situation. I don't know if they're poor, if they're surviving off of this stuff, if somehow they don't scalp, Earthrise Thrust, that he won't be able to pay his rent. I don't know their situations. I don't know it. So I'm not going to judge them too much, but it does suck for everyone else who actually wants to enjoy the product, especially if it was like a figure that people really want, like a Cosmos. I get it. I get it a lot, you know? I really do. So I've always had a very flip floppy kind of feeling on it. Personally, me, I don't like to do it. I just want to help my friends, and then that's it. And then I leave it to, destiny and let them figure out. I don't need to buy, sell. In all honesty, it's not even worth it at the end. You know what I mean? A lot of times it's like you buy a Cosmos at $39.99 or whatever it is, Canadian it was. What was it? $29.99? $29.99 plus Quebec taxes. 14%. Yes, it's 14% our taxes. 14% taxes, $39.99. So it almost comes to $40, right? Then you put it on eBay. Let's say you get $50 for it on eBay. eBay takes right away 15%. Then you got to overcharge on shipping just to survive because Canada Post has terrible shipping costs, or you have to undercharge because people won't want to buy it from you unless you're paying unless you're giving a good shipping quote. At the end of the day, what are you making? $5 to drive to the post office? All of that time, all of that energy. So sometimes it's not even worth it. And if, God forbid, you're stuck with an item, you buy two of something and you're stuck with one, that's a loss. Any inventory that you didn't sell is still a loss until you sell it. So if you bought 10 Cosmos and you only sold two and you sold them really well, if you didn't sell the other eight, you're still in the red. So it's not even worth it in the end. Sometimes I wonder, like, is it even worth it to buy and flip a lot of stuff? Yeah, there's the white swan events where, oh my goodness, this figure tripled in value, or quadrupled in value. But then there's other times where, like, yeah, not so much. And then you buy a bunch of them, and then the price goes down, and then it doesn't work out in the end. That's why so many people, they ask me, how come at your parts party you never have new product? Because that means I'd have to buy new product. I'm not going to invest in new product and then put it in my room. And what do you want me to ask for new product? I paid MSRP. Now what am I asking? Asking more than MSRP? Isn't that scalping now? From the person's perspective? If I have carded product in my room, like brand new product, either I worked on it and as a result they gave me comps, which that was a lot of Combiner Wars product. There was that one year at TFCon where I had tons of Combiner Wars stuff because, oh, I wrote all those bios, so they send me three of everything and I only need one, you know. So I had a ton of Combiner Wars stuff, a little bit of Power of the Primes. That's literally it. It's very rare, very, very rare. So I hope that kind of answers that a little bit. It's a little bit of a long-winded answer, but for a red super chat from Prince of Phalanx 59, I am willing to do that. I am willing to do that. Thank you again, my friend. That's really cool of you. That's really cool. That $50 pays for our gas going to Ottawa and back. So that pays for all the gasoline. Because let me tell you something. What was gas prices? Gas prices was $1.80 in Montreal yesterday and today. $1.80. Amazing how much we pay for gas here. We went to Ottawa and it was cheaper. It's so crazy how expensive it is here. Sometimes we fill up over there, but not always lucky with that. Mikey and Louie, we wanted everyone we could to have a Minerva, so we got normal cost and all the nonsense scalper overpriced. Better to get it and sell it to, like, see again, Mikey and Louie, they hook up people in our Discord. They'll get a whole bunch of them and then they'll go to the TF Slag Discord and go, who needs a Minerva? And I'm pretty sure you guys took care of everybody. You really did. Really, Mikey and Louie are good people. They're good people. We need more good people. And Mike and Louie don't need to worry about money. So they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart, you know? If Transformers had mold on it, does that mean Transformers are edible? I would not suggest nor condone eating the mold off of Transformers. There has been Transformer cookies, though, so you should buy those. And there's been Transformers gummies back in the day. I had the animated ones back in the day. Those were really good. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Link CW. I for me, buy for my son. That's it. I do not sell my collection unless the whole line is outdated. And yes, selling entire lines on eBay sucks, especially shipping. I once paid on top of to ship the guy received it and then he just threw in boxes. It was bad. Yeah, no, that's why sometimes it's not even worth it. Buying on eBay is good. Selling on eBay is not that great. I will say, especially now. Buying on eBay is still great, but being a seller on eBay is a freaking nightmare. It is not, in the early 2000s of eBay and maybe like up until about 2008, it was still good to sell on eBay, but now the prices are so crazy. They phased out PayPal for for receiving money. So a lot of things got kind of screwy, and now it's tough to sell on eBay. But buying is still great. If you're a buyer on eBay, it's still a great world. But it's not a seller's world on eBay anymore. Prince of Phalanx, I did buy an extra Cosmos still in box and traded it for someone for a G2 dead end recently. Well, that's good. I saw someone was scalping, toy swapping G2 stuff, and that was disgusting. See, here's the thing. I probably should have mentioned. Yeah, it's true. In the States, you guys work by the gallon. We work by the liter. So when I say 180, $1.80, it's $1.80 a liter, which if it was in a gallon, I'd have to do the math right now. It's almost like $5. So it's way more expensive here. And I probably should have specified that. I totally forgot. Sorry. I forgot you guys do it by the gallon. It's different. Different currents, different ways that we measure everything. We're crazy. Kilometers, miles, all that stuff. Canada. Poutine and hockey. T-Formers 2002 being in Canada in July messes me trying to figure out what your crazy Canadian gas prices. Yeah, it's and again, it's more expensive. It's crazy too. And again, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of this, but guess where the American gas comes from? It comes from Canada. So imagine we sell the gas to the States and then they sell it back to us. And our own Canadian gas tycoons don't even have loyalty to their own country to give us cheap gas. Terrible. Terrible. Ugh. That's why we spend so much on it. And Montreal isn't a car city, so that's a whole other conversation. Mikey and Willie, more mold than meets the eye. That's a good one. Lizard Sphere X, what's up, Lizard Sphere X? Only eat Transformers if they're voiced by Orson Welles. Yeah. Mikey and Louie, what is the current theory on what Uni is actually going to stand for? Unicron, Unity, Universe, United. I don't know. I'm thinking Universe just because they have to do that trademark again. That's what I think. God, man, I look like crap. The 3-hour drive today, man, just messed me up. Transformers Universe, I could see them revisiting it again. Hey, we got to do that again. Transformers Universe, 40th anniversary universe, the universe of Transformers, 40th anniversary. Lord Oberon, that's a new YouTube member. Oberon, how you doing, Lord Oberon? Instead of a Transformers GI Joe crossover, what do you think What do you think of a Transformers A-Team crossover? I think it can be done. You take that Studio Series 86 Ironhide. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. I could see it being done. That one and Kit from Knight Rider. Those are the two that I'm surprised they haven't tried yet because they have stuff that they could sculpt into it. I think maybe they're just waiting for the right opportunity.
Must be stopped.
I think that's the case.
No
Timmy K. Poindexter Esquire the third. Proto, I'm getting out of the collection game. Should I send all my stuff to Mikey and Louie and have them give it away on the stream? Jeez, that's one way to do it, for sure. If you contact Mikey and Louie, they're on our Discord. If you want their email, just contact me through Instagram or Twitter, and I could get you their email, and you guys could figure it out. I would love that we could give away stuff to the fans. That's always the best way to do it. I always love doing that, especially for my patrons and YouTube members. I love to give them opportunities to get some cool products. So if you want to do that, we'll work something out. Contact Mikey and Louie. Faux show. Faux show. Faux show. Giants bleed. We need universe. We need universe. Universe Razor Claw. Well, if we're going to be getting, and I love Universe Razor Claw, I have them back there. That's my Universe display. You can see Bloody Tusks over there. If we do get a Tiger Hawk, which supposedly we are getting a leader class of, it's pretty obvious we're going to be getting that repaint. Pretty obvious. There's a few Universe repaints that are pretty much a shoe-in at this point. Mikey and Louie, we love doing giveaways. We are sure running low on inventory. Yep. So again, contact Mikey and Louie. We'll do some giveaways. Do some cool stuff. We always like to do that. Give back to the fans. It's either Mikey and Louie for the giveaways or the charity auction for TFCon. We've taken stuff from that too. We have some stuff still. We have some stuff waiting for charity auction at next TFCon next year. So good stuff. Always like to give back. Always like to give back to the community. Prince of Phalanx 59. Someone asked a good question. How did you get connected with Hasbro? The oldest saying in the book that I took from the wrestling world. I love the wrestling world because I feel that when you learn all the ins and outs of wrestling, you could apply it to so many things in life. And the late, great Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect from the WWF back in the day, had a very true saying: business gets done at the bar. And that is so true, which is if you go to, especially back in the day, the BotCons back in the day where Hasbro was always at those shows, go to the bar. Go in the evening. You could be that guy that just hides in his room all weekend, or you could hang out at the bar. I don't drink, and I'm at the bar. You know, you go to the bar, you meet people. That's how I met Aaron Archer. You know, that's how I met Aaron. I don't know if Aaron's still listening, but I'll never forget one of the funniest stories was, I don't know if Aaron remembers this story. Um, Dealer room was closing up. We were closing up to kind of just do our thing. Um, and Aaron came up to me, and I've talked to Aaron back and forth quite a few times. First time I met him was in 2008, where we really talked. And I don't remember what year it was, but I remember the dealer room was closing up. And Aaron comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And it's like, so what are you doing later?" And then I was just like, I was like, "Oh, well, dealer room's closing up. I think I'm just gonna go up to my room, get something to eat, and then I'm gonna just hang out down at the bar." And then he's like, "Oh, so you're not going to grab a bite out somewhere?" I'm like, "No, I'm probably just gonna go." And then he said, "This is his exact quote." I don't know if Aaron remembers this. He's like, "Well, if you don't want to hang out with me, just say so." Yeah. And I remember just being thrown off. I was like, "Oh shit, okay, yeah, you want to grab a bite, sure." And then that kind of created that relationship of you go hang out, you talk, you talk business, and then the rest is history. Like that's kind of one way to do it. I always feel business gets done at the bar. Business always gets done at the bar. How did I get my opportunities to do all the bio writing? You know, I'm at the bar at TFCon. One of the Hasbro guys is chilling there. This was, gosh, 2012, 2013. I just remember I was at the bar. We were all eating. I had like a chicken plate of something. Alex Milne was across from me. Josh Perez was diagonal from me. Jesse Witherich. And they gave a good, everyone knew who Alex was. Everyone knew who Josh was. They worked on the comics at the time and they were doing some great work. And they kind of like said, "Hey, yeah, Proto Man has done stuff with us. He's written stuff. Sure, do some stuff." And I got those opportunities to write bios and write comic books and everything. So it's literally you just got to be social. You got to be there because, you know, I think Rob Layfield said, if you make a comic book and all you do is leave it on the dresser of your bedroom, no one's going to see it. You got to get out there and show it to people, and they're not going to see it on your dresser or on your kitchen table. And it's the same thing. If you have ideas or brainstorming, people aren't going to know if you're just kind of sitting behind your computer and typing it on the millions of words that could get lost on the internet or a message board. You got to be there in person, show your face, show your enthusiasm, and the rest is history. The rest is history. I remember trading information with a guy at HasCon, that one HasCon, one of the Hasbro guys, just trading information just to talk about some ideas and stuff. Nothing ever came of it, but the point is that we were back and forthing in a few things. Prince Vines, spike my drink. Are you going to spike my orange juice? I think I noticed. You know what? People have tried in the past to try to give me alcoholic beverages, and it's like that's okay. It's not that it's not that I'm like allergic to anything. I just don't drink it. I don't need alcohol. It's empty carbs that are useless. You know. Do you know how many carbs and garbage stuff is in alcohol? You know, you're drinking poison pretty much, but that's a whole other conversation. Some people need it to feel loose, to feel comfortable. I get it, but not for me. I don't need it. Never do, never will. Where are we at here? Transmetal BW Prowl Owl. I must have missed a conversation. I guess you want Horned Owl wants a Prowl, the Transmetal too. Yeah, for sure. That's Prowl 2, as we call it from Beast Wars. If they do Magnaboss, they better prepare Tripredicus Magnaboss around the corner. I'm sure we'll get both of those. I think that as they're building combiners, three-piece combiners, I feel are a lot more doable because there's less of an investment needed when like when you're doing our big combiners, our Scramble City combiners, as I call them, you need to have that big centerpiece. You need to have that commander class because now we've created that standard commander class deluxes. But if you have three-piece combiners, you could have three deluxes that just go together. Look how big Tripredicus was. And those were like basic deluxes that made Tripredicus and Magnaboss. So if you had a couple of decent sized deluxes that combined, you could get some pretty decent tri combiners, or do some Voyager scale ones and get some really decent tri combiners because then the budget will be there at a Voyager scale. So I could see that. That would be cool. I would dig it. And then do Road Caesar. Give me some Road Caesar. I want Road Caesar. Got a spike with a roofie. Well, if you want to get me sleeping, well, then that's your thing. Um, Giants bleed. Do you have any guesses for the next HasLab? Yes, I do, but I'm going to keep it to myself because I know what it is. That's all I'm going to say. Just stay tuned. Hasbro again. Hasbro PulseCon. That's all I'm saying, guys. Hasbro PulseCon. It's coming up. Get excited. Save your money. That's all I'm saying. Skip buying some Starbucks and eating out and going to movies and buying Transformers. Let a couple paychecks come by and don't spend anything. Put the money aside. You have a good month and what is a good month and a half? You have a good month and a half to put aside money. That's what I say. Just do that. Be smart about it. I was going to BotCons back in the day working at Burger King. Okay, getting paid $7 an hour. Why? Because I would put money aside. Every time I got a paycheck, put a little bit aside, put a little bit aside. And BotCon was once a year. So if you put a little bit aside throughout the year, boom, I'd have enough money for a plane ticket, maybe the exclusive. I'd literally sleep on a hotel room floor if I had the opportunity. I still do that to this day because I'd rather save money that way. But yeah, it's one of those things. So it's like just, save your money. Save your money. And then if you don't like what the item is, then hey, now you have a big wad of cash that you could throw at something. So, and you saved your money. That's how I see it. We have 9 minutes left in the live stream. Let's try to get a few more super chats in before the day is done. And then I'm gonna go play with some Bakugan. So here's how this guy works. So this is the cool big kaiju dragon mode, and then actually, so this is how this is gonna go flying, but I don't care. And that just launched that, and then it transformed the little Bakugan there. But so this is like the base mode is like I think it's like something like this, something like this. It's not very intuitive, but something like this. The base mode. It's like oh wait, and then I think you lock in the wigs, yeah, and you lock in the wings like that. It's the base mode, the flying fortress, and then transform, boom, 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 and then and then like the wings go back when you lock this in, like it locks in, and then the wings go back when you do that. There you go. You saw the wings went back there, so it's like you put it down, and then when you lock it in, the wings go back. Eh, pretty cool, eh? I dig it. It's a nice like Godzilla kaiju dragon kind of thing. It has the Bakugans you could store. It almost looks like Cheetor, Beast Transtech Cheetor with the big wheel legs. because you could pop out the Bakugan. It's cute. I dig it. Transforming giant robots. Nothing better in the world, my friends. Nothing better in the world. It's okay, Princeton. You did very good today. You don't have to super chat anymore. Thank you again, by the way. That'll definitely pay for our gas. That'll pay for the gas trip. Um, oh, I have, by the way, Nautica, I have mech card stuff. I have that too. Anything that's transforming stuff. I wish I could show you guys. I don't know if you could hear. I have a glass case over here. You can barely see it, which is all like miscellaneous stuff. You're seeing some of my top of my desk there. I have some miscellaneous stuff there, and I have Met Card in there, transforming stuff. I have Web Divers, Brave, Gyrozetter. I love Gyrozetter. All miscellanea robot, transforming robot stuff. Love that. Proto, you decided about going to the next con. Well, next con is going to be TF Con Orlando. I'm pretty much 100% going there. I just don't have my hotel situation figured out. That's my only issue, is that I don't have a proper roommate for it yet. So we'll see. We'll see. I got to figure out a roommate situation with the hotels and everything, and then we'll figure it out. The Dragon Ball, because I have on my desk, I have what I call the gods. So I have like this is my version of Prima, pretty much. I just have that there, and then I got Kami from Dragon Ball on a Dragon Ball there, and then I got let me just then I got the dragon on a nice cloud. I put all the gods. Some people might have a picture of Jesus. People have a picture of Buddha. Some people might have a picture of whatever their deity is. I got my Transformer stuff there. I put my gods over there. But yeah, thanks again, by the way, for all the super chats, people. Very, very, very nice of you guys today. Good stuff. Good stuff. Very cool stuff. We still have some time left. We got like 6 minutes left. We could get a few more questions in, a few more super chats in before we call it the end of the day. Mikey and Louie have a question. What is your opinion on the upcoming new TF comic? Have I seen the previews? I saw the previews. I didn't read them because I don't want to be spoiled. I'm very picky with when they post like the 5-page previews. I've always been like that. I always avoid them because I want to read the whole book. I have it pre-ordered. Shout out to Mark the Comic Hunter. That's my stomping ground for comic books in Montreal. I have it pre-ordered. Mark the Comic Hunter. He's going to get me the first cover and possibly the variants. There's so many other variant covers, but I'm going to be getting it for sure. I read the recent Void Rivals. Very good. Very, 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 very good. So I got that. So yeah. I didn't read it though. I saw the pages. I just didn't read it because I don't want to spoil myself. I want to read it all in one shot. Link CW right now. My collection is all in totes. Goes from the ceiling to the floor, 8 foot long. My wife says you're building a wall. Yeah, I know the feeling. I have a crawl space. So in my basement, I have a crawl space, and in that crawl space is all like miscellanea, like boxes that I don't want to throw out because it's like masterpiece boxes or certain characters that I really like their box art or instructions or stuff like that. Any BotCon box set or like Titan class box set, I would keep the box. So that's in my crawl space. I know it. I could build a house out of all the Transformer boxes I have. No joke. No joke. When you're talking this much, oof, I could easily build a house out of it. Um, wonder if it keeps out the GoBots or will absorb them. I don't know what the conversation is. They have the trademarks to the name of GoBots. They just can't use the designs. If you want good GoBot toys, check out Action Toys, the official trademarked Machine Robo figures, which are GoBots, which is kind of in limbo right now. But that's if you want your GoBots action, it's out there, and they're pretty affordable. They're not that expensive. Speaking of instruction, Mikey Moose says, speaking of Aaron, does Aaron still want them? Yes, he does. Aaron still wants instructions. Again, contact him on Instagram, Archer Monster on Instagram. If you can't find Archer Monster on Instagram, just go to my Instagram and then go to where my following tab is. He's in there. If you're typing it in and it isn't coming up for whatever reason, just go to my Instagram. He's in my following. I'm only following like 9 people, so you'll be able to find him easily on the list. And then just contact him. He is always looking for instructions from that bubble, late Beast Wars to 2015, anything in that bubble. Send it to him. He'll make the best of it. And then he'll make it worth your while. Let's put it that way. I won't say what that wild is because that's up to Aaron to decide, but he'll make it worth it for you. He'll make it worth it for you. How much time? We got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left in the madness of this great day. Great stuff. Also have to meet up with somebody tomorrow. I got a lot to do tomorrow. Very busy. Very, very busy. Got to go downtown. Got to go do groceries. Gonna check out Walmart here. Didn't get to check out Walmart. I need to pick up an air pump for my basketball. It's running out of air for the first time in like 2 years. So my old air pump is kaput. Doesn't work anymore. So it is what it is. A lot of stuff. Mikey and Lily, what is for dessert? Actually, I took photos of these. Is my phone nearby? I want to show you guys. So this is what I actually also picked up while we were in Ottawa. You can check these out. You want to see how much of a psycho I am? So the Super Mario Oreos. So I took photos of all of them. So here's all the designs. I'm like, oh, before I eat these, I need to document all the designs of the Super Mario Oreos. So yeah, I'm gonna have some Super Mario Oreos tonight, maybe. It's very rare that I have cookies, but it's Super Mario, so I can't say no. When they did the Pokemon ones, they were sold out everywhere. People were scalping them. So no Shy Guy though, unfortunately. No Shy Guy. But it is what it is. Well, I'm gonna have some Oreos today, but I'm probably gonna have Vietnamese spare ribs. My mother-in-law made me some beautiful, delicious spare ribs, so I'm gonna probably have those because they knew that we were gonna be coming home late and we weren't able to make food, so the extended family hooked us up. Prince of the Phalanx 59. Did someone already ask you what you're having for dinner? Pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much. Oh man, I wish I could eat all the Oreos in one sitting, brother. Let me tell you. I used to do that all the time. Not anymore. Not anymore. Now I got to be smart with my diet. When you hit past 40, you got to be way smart with your diet and be healthy. And me, I've always been a fitness person anyways to begin with, but I used to be a fitness person that also got to eat whatever I wanted. I used to eat like crazy. Eat like crazy. It's tons of stuff. Nowadays, it's like you got to watch yourself. You got to watch yourself. Um There should be a green for Yoshis. Well, there is a Yoshi in there. I do know that. There's a Yoshi. It's Mario Luigi. There's no Peach. Unless there's no Peach in my box, I didn't see a Peach one. I was surprised with that. They had Kid Bowser, Bowser Jr. They had all the others. Link CW, got to finish up work, closing. Love you, Proto, and all that you do, bro. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your live stream. Well, actually, Link CW, we are done because we're actually at the 2 hour mark. So again, thank you everyone for a lovely live stream. Some really good questions today. Some really good discussions about all the new stuff. The return of the big man, or the big man is back, is Fortress Maximus. For people that were asking, Fort Max is back. But yeah, thank you for the love and support, everyone. Again, if you want to continue supporting the podcast, we do have Discord. We have Discord. We have the Patreon link down there, which does give you access to Discord and stuff like that. So come join the Patreon. If Patreon isn't your thing to support the podcast, we also have the YouTube member. That's what our beautiful green names are on the side. Again, some people like to double dip with both because it gives them benefits on both sides. So that's one way to help support the podcast more so we can continue doing this every single day in the madness so I could lose all my hair before I'm 50 doing Transformer podcasts, but I don't care. When you have a loving family and great friends, it doesn't matter how many follicles are on the top of your hair. Doesn't matter. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. Take care of yourselves. Thank you, everyone who came by, all the super chats, all the love and support. Aaron Archer and the crew, everybody there. I'm out of here. Love you all. Going to go play some video games. Take care.